What's up, everybody? I got something to talk about today. I came out here in my creek. I'm like, oh yeah, let's have a good time, catch some fish, post some pics for the Instagram. I'll put that right here. I tell you what, folks, summer, it's gone. It was a good time. It was a good year. Fall, it's gone too. It's winter. Now, it would just be awesome if somebody made a top 5 baits for catching giant bass during the winter. Well, you called upon me, and we're doing it, boys. Top 5 winter baits for catching you some hogs in these cold months. Let's get after it. Okay, so let me tell you. Let me crack her open. Oh, yeah. So, this bait I'm about to show you is top 5 of all time. I don't care what the month is, what the scenario is, where you're at. You could be in the desert. You're going to catch fish on this lure. This bad boy can be rigged up many different styles. But I like to rig her wacky style. You may have guessed it, it's the good old Senko. Now this one right here is silver and white. You know, it kind of looks like a shad, I guess. Beats me. So, I like to rig this wacky style because when it's falling, it gives it a nice wiggling like that, you know? It's like a worm. I mean, it is a worm, but you know what I mean. So it's falling nice and slow, and you just stop, boom, pop it, and let it fall back down. These bass are not trying to chase anything. They're not trying to, you know, be aggressive. They just want something that's quick and easy and that's going to fill them up in these cold waters that you're fishing. So if they see this bad boy going, whoop, you know, they're going to be like, oh man, that's juicy looking, that's tasty looking. So they're going to go after it and you're going to catch them. You know, being wacky rigged, it's going to have that exposed hook point, so, you know, you're going to get better hookup ratios all around. That's just a fantastic bait. I like fishing them around some sticks, some rocks. I like fishing deep though, because that's where those fish are going to be. They're going to be deep. That's where it's going to be the warmest. I mean, at least that's what I've heard. Number 2, we got a good old finesse jig. Now, I like using finesse jigs because they're going to finesse those fish. Honestly though, I like them way better than big old jigs. Got the smaller presentation. Like I said, these bass aren't trying to attack and ambush all these giant big old creatures. They want something easy and quick. So, if you're dragging this bad boy through those sticks and through those rocks along the bottom, they're going to see that. It's going to catch their attention. Them little tentacles are going to be going like this, and they're going to be like, oh yeah, that looks good. Well, so then they're going to smoke it. I like fishing these. I like pitching them up in sticks, fishing them along the rocks, and I really like dragging them across rocky bottoms because the rocks hold the heat and they're going to be on the bottom. That's just all there is to it. So that is the number 2 spot. That's a pretty darned old lure. So let's see. If I can count right, we're on number 3. And number 3 is a suspending jerkbait. Now this bad boy is pretty darn fancy, okay? It has that little shimmery, sparkly stuff on the back of it. It's got a nice little rattles inside. Now let me tell you why I like this. I like these bad boys because it looks like a dying shad. Now a dying shad ain't going to be able to take off and hightail away from a bass. No, it's dying. It's not going to do that. So these bass are thinking, oh, that's an easy meal. Let me swim a little bit and go smoke them, and I'm not going to have to eat for the next week. You know what I'm saying? These bad boys are, again, good to fish around rocks. I don't like throwing them in sticks because, I mean, you got like 16 hooks all over the place. Your $8 lure is gone. The only time I'm really going to fish one of those is when I'm around big old rocks, or really any rocks, I guess. And so I like this suspending better than any of them because it's going to start going down, and as soon as you stop, it's going to stop too, and it's going to slowly wiggle up. So that's going to look like a dying shad. If you work in it, you just cranking, stop, it's going to be, you know, floating back up, going down, floating back up. This thing's going to be twitching, squirming, squeaming, and catching big old bass. That's number 3 on number 4. Now, number 4. This is a fun one. This is a real fun one. Beast Hunter. That's what this bad boy is called. This right here is a deep diving crankbait. As you can tell, has an enormous bill on it. Some big old trebles and a big body. And she rattles like none other. So I like these because those fish are deep. They're on the rocks. If you're cranking this thing along the rocks, I mean, they're gonna come into contact with fish eventually. I like the skinnier body ones. I don't like the big giant ones. because these skinny body ones, if they're coming across a bass, you know, a skinny one, that's, I think, you know, it's not as healthy. But if you got a big old chunky fat one, you know, this bad boy is fast, he's strong, and I'm not getting him. I'm gonna go for the skinny one. I mean, duh. I like fishing this bad boy around points. So if you got a little point coming out, you know, just chuck it. Chuck it around there. I guarantee you there's bass in there. And if there ain't, well, then there's no bass where you're fishing. I also like fishing this bad boy across, what do you call them? Weeds? Weeds, not wheat. Weed lines. Because those fish are going to be stacked up in those weed lines. And if you're just running across right on the bottom where those weed lines are, you're going right in here. I mean, those bass are going to just come out there and smoke it. I mean, not aggressively, because they're not aggressive, but they are going to smoke it. That's just how it is. I like to run mine about 15 feet, okay? They're not going, the beast, this is a beast hunter. Those beasts are not going up shallow. You don't catch beast easily, okay? Those people go hunting for Bigfoot, they don't, you got to go extreme. So that's why I go with the giant bill. I'm going extreme. I only catch big fish. I'm sorry, guys. That's just how it is. So I run mine 15, 20 feet. That's where those big old bass are going to be. And that's where you want to run your jigs, your crankbaits, and your Senkos. You just want to run them all deep and around structured. That is the #1 tip I can give you. Okay. Now, number 5. Once again, this is a top 5 bait of all time by far. Oh, can you hear that? Oh. Is that a little clue? We got the spinnerbait, the good old white spinnerbait, silver and gold plated leaves. 24 karat, boys. Now, the spinnerbait, I like white. Okay, it doesn't need to be a foot long like this one, but I like white with 2 blades. Let me tell you why. Shatter white, and the 2 blades give it a little bit of a thump to it. So the bass are looking at your bait and they're like, huh, that kind of looks like what I want to eat. And it sounds like it's alive, I guess. Don't ask me. Go ask the bass you're fishing for. Maybe they can tell you. And what I really like about these is you can fish them as deep or as shallow as you want. You can make these bad boys top water, or you can fish the bottom for catfish if you wanted to. However you do it your way. But I fish mine around sticks, rocks, weed lines. What other structures are there? Mud banks, point, sunken cars, sunken toilets, sunken ships. I mean, really anything there is, this bad boy can go in there and tear it up. Alright, folks, so I know the title of this is top 5 baits, but I got a bonus one for you. This is number 6, and I promise you I can count. Now this one will absolutely slay the bass anywhere, anytime, only under one certain special circumstance. Now this bait is another top 5 of pretty much all time, and that's just a topwater bait in general. Now, for this circumstance, I'm about to tell you, I like subtle ones. I don't want a big old Zara spook. I don't want a popper. I want something that's gonna make some commotion on top of the water, but it's gonna be subtle. I don't want, you know, a giant popper blowing up thinking there's nukes dropping on them, because those bass are gonna take cover. You want something subtle, but enough to where they're gonna know it's there. Now the special circumstance is a hot water discharge, so like a nuclear plant, or I mean, I don't know, a lava, just something that's going to warm up that water in these cold winter months. That's just going to make those bass extra aggressive, and they're going to be feeding on whatever is available before it gets super cold and they're not going to want to hunt anymore. So that's why I like this bait, because it's on top of the water. They're looking up. They're just like sharks. I mean, they are going to smoke it, because this water's still warm and they're motivated to tear anything and everything up. Now, I picked this one. This is a Whopper Plopper. This is the smallest one they have. I like this one because it doesn't make too much commotion, and it's a nice bite-sized meal. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to just jerk it a little bit, just give it some time, wait a few seconds, fish it around the banks, fish it around stick-ups. If you know there's structure there that's above the ground level, throw it right over there and just smoke them, because you will. I gave you the top 5 on my list, but let me tell you which one I'd use first and which one I'd go to last. First of all, for sure, it's the Senko. I'm throwing this bad boy around sticks and rocks. That's my first option, no doubt about it. Next, I'm gonna try my spinnerbait, because I'm gonna see if these bass are still a little bit aggressive, see if they want something moving. If I didn't catch anything on the Senko, Maybe they want something faster, more alive, and that's what the spinnerbait's gonna do for you. Next, I'm gonna go back to a really small finesse jig. Maybe they do want it slow, but they don't want something as big as the Senko. So I'm gonna go super small, no trailer, so run this buddy across the bottom and just stir up the mud, just slowly drag it across. Next, I'm gonna have to go the suspended crankbait. Now this bad boy, I mean look, he ain't too big. He's 4 inches, 4.5 inches. So I'm thinking maybe these fish are a little aggressive, but they don't want to have to work for it. So I'm gonna work this bad boy super slow, give him a little wiggle, stop, which leads me last to the crankbait. And I'm gonna use this one last because that's gonna require the fish to do the most work. This thing is big and it's a little bit fast. I mean, you can't really, just work a crankbait slow. You kind of got to reel, jerk on it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna reel up a little bit. I'm just gonna twitch, and that's just gonna make that thing dive down. And I'm gonna let it wiggle, and then I'm gonna reel, and that's just gonna live it down a little bit. So there we go, you guys. That is my top 5 winter baits. They're gonna catch you some monster bass. Alrighty, guys. There is my top 5 list for my winter baits. But before we go, I got something pretty darn special that I got to tell you guys. If you've been reading the description on my videos, you will know that I'm going to do a 300 sub giveaway. Now, I don't have too much farther to go, but when we get there, it's going to be pretty lit. I'm going to be giving away some fishing stuff, I'm going to be giving away some trapping stuff, maybe even some, calls, fishing gear, hunting gear, who knows, but it's going to be pretty cool. And I got a deal for you guys. If we can hit 300 subs before the new year, I'm going to give away something sweet. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be dope. It's going to be like a trail camera, something like that, something pretty dang cool, maybe even a fishing reel. Who knows, but it's going to be something good. So, what that means to you is, you need to get your grandma, your mom, your grandpa, your dad, your dog, your cat, your lizard, your snake, anything you got, your friends. Tell them to subscribe, because anybody who subscribes is eligible to win. Now, once I hit 300, I'm going to drop a video. It's going to be the official giveaway video. And all you have to do is drop a comment on that video, like it, and you have to be subscribed. So, until then, I'll see you guys later. Roll the outro. Guys, I'm super sorry. That was really cringy. I shouldn't have done that. Yeah, I'll see you next time. Thank you guys for watching. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and take those little thumbs and smash that subscribe button. Feel free to watch my previous videos, and until then, White Lightning out.